FEBI come into being? With a background in physics and biophysics and meditation and martial arts, I knew that the way you train the body affects the mind. And I started writing about this in the 90s, and one of the people who read my first book introduced me to Betsy Wetzik, a choreographer and movement researcher who had been deeply impressed by the work of Josephine Rathbone some years earlier, who had characterized 4 patterns, large-scale patterns in the nervous system that organized the order in which nerves fire muscles. And Betsy saw that these were not just patterns of movement, but patterns of temperament, of personality, and started working with her dancers and people of all kinds with these patterns, including me, as I came to one of her workshops and I said at the end, wow, these patterns could really help people. Where's the book on this? She said, without missing a beat, why don't we write it? Which led to several years of work together, and the book moved to greatness. What also happened was that I was taking leadership courses at NASA and really valued their use of assessments, but those assessments left out the body. They were like head-only assessments. And I knew that was a miss. So when I started teaching leadership in the 90s, I wanted an assessment based on these patterns, and worked with Marquis Faber, a psychologist, as well as psychometricians and movement researchers to develop and validate the FEBI. So how did we validate the FEBI? Well, we surely put it through its paces. We normed it on a database of nearly 10,000 adults of diverse professions and countries. And we did a factor analysis on the pattern to see that each of its factors represented what you might call a primary color of personality, didn't reduce to the others. And we found that we could improve the quality or the internal reliability of each factor by analyzing every question and tuning it for what would contribute to the overall reliability of the instrument. A measure of goodness, which is called Cronbach's alpha, for a factor is around 0.7. Anything greater than that is considered good. Our factors are around 0.9. We also looked at how the FEBI factors correlated with sort of a gold standard in the field of psychology, a 5-factor model called the NEO. And that's 4 basic factors plus a 5th factor, which is like a basket of things that could go wrong. And we found that our 4 FEBI factors correlated well with the dominant factors of the NEO. We were also able to put the physical elements of the pattern model to the test in a movement study where we encouraged people to move into each pattern by watching a video and then report on their state. And we found that the way they reported their state matched the FEBI model. No other assessment has been through all these paces, so you can trust when you get your FEBI report that it has organized your responses in a reliable way, and maybe it's going to show you something you didn't know about yourself. So how do the FEBI patterns help teams become more effective and get better results? There are so many ways. First, just understanding ourselves better is the foundation for understanding others. The patterns help us build empathy and an appreciation of diversity on the teams. So we move beyond judgments of good and bad to seeing the pattern underpinnings to team dynamics, like that person who always wants to stick to the agenda and that other person who always wants to divert or go back. We start to see, oh, there's visionary at play, there's organizer at play. And we can start to see how to bring in each pattern as it's useful, where we need a little bit more structure, or we need a little more speed, or we need to open things up, or find a better timing with all of our stakeholders. That agility and balance helps teams get better results and also tune their use of these energies to their purpose, where they can talk about what do we need more of, how do we access it, and how do we help each player on our team play to their strengths, as well as access the patterns we need to be better. And finally, in moving us out of our heads and into our bodies, into the heart center and the hara center, the patterns help us feel one another and creates a kind of shared understanding that's deeper than just discriminating thought. And in that physical connection, a kind of mutual care develops, which is the special sauce of the highest performing teams. I hope you get as much out of FEBI as I have. Enjoy.